What's up, GoMeanGreen fans? Joined by two very special guests today, the CEO and president of GoMeanGreen, Harry Myers, and the guy behind the lens that's taking all the great pictures and making all the road trips so far. Y'all know him as NTSN on Twitter, better known as Miles in person. How are you guys doing today?
Doing great.
I'm doing
Doing
amazing.
good. Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Yes. This may actually be the last time we all three talk after, I think, Sunday. Both y'all being big Astros fans, me being the Ranger fan I am.
That's true.
This may be a farewell podcast. We may our friendships may end after this week, so we'll see how it
No,
goes.
man, it's a great for both sides. I mean, this is honestly, I know it sounds weird. I think this is a bigger series than the World Series to me personally, because I have so many Rangers fans, and family and friends just like you.
Yeah.
So it's real. It's going to be fun, the next week or so.
Yeah, I do cattle. I do my actual job, and it's like I have friends in all facets of my life that some are Astros fans, some are Rangers. Like it's going to be an exciting time. So fun stuff, but yeah, we may not. We'll see how it goes. But we'll get into the previewing the Temple game, kind of recapping Navy real quick. I know this is kind of middle of the week. We've kind of all moved past Navy so far, but Harry, you've been we haven't got to talk near as much the last few weeks. You've been super swamped with a pretty big project you've been working on, and excited how it's taken off. You want to tell the fans about the new Mean Green Collective?
Absolutely. Thank you. It has. It's been a whirlwind. I'm like you guys. I mean, I got a day job, like everybody else. And so, we do what we can as fans and support the program. And it just, I guess everything kind of came into alignment. And a couple of very loyal, generous donors and I got together and said, we need to do this. Whether you like NIL or you hate NIL, and I think there's probably more people that hate it than like it, it is here to stay. And I think the big challenge for North Texas has always been we've had a small group of large donors that have been incredibly generous and loyal. And then we have the rest of us that are out here that, I think for better or worse, have kind of felt a little bit like we're on an island. And anything that we do give is kind of going into a black hole, right? And that's nothing against the athletic department or advancement or anyone else. It's just kind of the way things have been historically. And so I feel like, it was the right time to do this. Now we have a lot of work to go, but I was extremely proud that we were able to deliver $100,000 check. And that's not commitments. That's actual money in the bank. First State Bank in Gainesville is also partnering with us, and they're one of our initial founding members donating. But anyway, it's an exciting time. We're just getting this thing off the ground, but the response has been fantastic. And again, I tell people there's no donation too small or large. I mean, honestly, anyone at this point that wants to jump on the train with us, we welcome you with open arms. We are putting primarily all of this money into men's and women's basketball at this time. Now, that being said, we're not just a basketball NIL. If you want to give money to football and you want to write a check, we'll make sure it gets to the players. But we are very lean. We're not, we don't have any staff or anything. I mean, we're basically self-funding this as the founders and putting everything together and just, hoping that we can continue to build it up. But we do feel like at this time, with the resources that we have, basketball is as good an investment as you could possibly make. We have a national, NIT national champion returning with some really good players. And the bottom line is other schools are coming after them. And either we're going to step up to the plate and keep this thing rolling, or we're going to let it go by the wayside. And our hope is that we can keep it going. And these kids are just fantastic. They've come to our tailgates. I've got to meet a number of them in person. I got to tell you, they are all just first class, super, super people. And you would be very proud to to be a part of this, I think. And so anyway, we'll have more to. I know we're talking about doing a separate podcast for the collective and then some other things, but just go to GoMeanGreen.com. It's pretty much plastered all over the place. If you want to jump in, we'd love to have you. There is no, doesn't matter what amount. We just want to get participation in it at this time, and just appreciate everyone that's already done that.
And I'll be sure and leave a link at the bottom so people can go and like you said, you can donate just a one-time fee. You can set up monthly donations. All they've got taken care of. But I'll be sure and leave a link below so anybody that's interested can definitely click on that, and anything that you can donate definitely helps.
Please, yeah, and again, 100% of this money is going directly to the players. And we don't have any overhead at this time. We're just basically doing this on our own, and we feel great doing it because it's for a very good cause. And North Texas's strength has always been in its numbers. So what we're trying to do here, it hasn't been done before, quite honestly. We're trying to build something from a grassroots level and build it up. And so any support we can get from anybody at this time is extremely appreciated. And we'll continue to keep you guys updated. There's some exciting things I will say on the horizon. We're starting to get some really good momentum, but just stay tuned because I think there's some more good news coming around the corner, and we'd love to have you be a part of it.
Perfect. Exciting stuff for sure. Now to get on to the main topic, the football season's in full force. Both of you guys were able to make the trip up to Maryland this last weekend. The game didn't end the way we wanted it to, but I think there was some bright spots to take out of the game. I think there was some things that I think we could work on. The team's sitting here 2-3 right now, 2-3. I put on Twitter earlier this week, we're a couple plays away that this team could be 4-1. We could also be 1-4. I mean, there've been, just a interception here, a stop here, score a touchdown here. This game, the season could be, completely different either way. But start with you, Miles. What were your takeaways? You were right there on the field from the Navy game.
Well, I said multiple times before the game, I said, if they cannot score on the first drive of the game, they're going to lose the game. And it's a very, really harsh kind of take to have, but that's what happened. They didn't score on that first drive. They missed a huge opportunity inside the 2-yard line, and it costed them a huge point differential. I mean, honestly, Navy didn't play offensively as well as I thought they were going to play. North Texas defense held their, and now the stats might say otherwise. They gave up 360 rushing yards, but I mean they had big time stops. They let the offense. They kept the offense in the game, but the offense let them down. And that's the biggest takeaway I have is just it was almost flipped. The offense couldn't find their way, and they had a lot of missed opportunities. The missed field goal, it could have been a tie game. The strip sacks, the sacks in general, 8 sacks. It was disappointing, but that was a very fun trip. I know that was a very hard-fought game. Those guys don't give up at all. It's just, there's just little mistakes you can't make every week. And, I think one of the biggest takeaways, there were 0 penalties on North Texas. 0. That was that. And Coach Morris, for weeks and weeks and weeks, talked about discipline. And they were really disciplined today. Navy had 8, 6, 7, 8 penalties. They should have had a targeting. So, I mean, it was the defensive side of the ball. I was impressed enough, that they kept themselves in the game. It was just really disappointing, the outcome, and especially the blown opportunities. That's the big takeaway from Coach Morse too. Just blown opportunities.
I don't think with this North Texas team, with the offense we've got, anytime the defense, only gives up 27 points, you got to like our chances to win that game. And I think, we should. You mentioned the first drive, them calling back the Rogers touchdown, watching it live on TV. It was close. I never even really thought about it when I was seeing the initial touchdown that it would be reviewed. Then when I seen the review come up, I'm like, there's not enough here to overturn it. It's close. Do I think he scored? Probably not. But like I said, that was a huge momentum shift, and not being able to get in. I know Coach Morris said in his press conference he would have liked to use the quarterback draw there on the second down play. I think that would have gave us a better chance, better opportunity, but missed There was one touchdown pass that was dropped in the end zone. But yeah,
Cleveland.
Cleveland. Yeah, that's hard for me to judge when you've got a 200-pound guy, that's coming full speed ahead. So I mean, I would have definitely dropped it too. But um, yeah, like I said, after the game, me personally, I was like, you can't blame the defense. The defense made the stops, made enough stops to give you an opportunity to win. But Harry, what were your takeaways from last Saturday?
You guys hit on a lot of it. I would just add a couple things. One, what a great trip! Oh my gosh! I mean, if you haven't made that trip,
Yeah.
it is a beautiful place to watch a football game. The weather's cooling, nice and cool. I mean, although we were in the sun, I was on the North Texas side for a while. Initially, it was just idyllic, backdrop to watch a football game. Super fun. But that being said, I was so disappointed after that game. I mean, again, I think we have to remind ourselves this coach is learning on the job. I mean, that's just the bottom line. And you can say, well, he coached at UIW and did great things. This is a different level. Okay. This is a totally different level. And to have that many sacks occur when Miles or me we probably yelled on the sidelines. I mean, I was close enough to the sidelines to tell him, leave a back there, put a tight end on that side. Chandler, bend down, because I mean, basically, have a little sense of when the guys come in. There's so many things they could have done to prevent those 8 sacks, and if you take two or three of those sacks away, this is a different ballgame. So just a lot of missed opportunities. I agree. I think the defense did take a step forward, but again, I thought we had much better athletes across the board, which is typically the case with the service academy. They're not getting the 4 or 5 star guys. They're getting good guys, but they're not, necessarily the best or the biggest or the fastest. So I guess, again, tough loss. I'm certainly not one of those, I think this isn't one of those, let's get rid of Eric Morris type deals at all. I mean, I still believe in him, but I just think we have to kind of reevaluate our expectations of him and the staff. I think they are, playing they're at a different level here, and they're trying to adjust as best they can, and it's going to take some time.
Yeah, and like I said, we want to just the main thing I pointed out with the first year head coach is just see improvement, see constant improvement. I think the defenses took steps up each game, but now we transition to a Temple team that's hasn't played great, but we're going on opposite end of the spectrum. Navy, we were worried about the run game. North Texas run defense has struggled. Their passing defense hasn't been horrible, and this is where Temple, their rushing game's not great, averaging less than 100 yards a game, but they're passing. They've got Kurt Warner's kid as quarterback, and he's been lighting it up, getting almost 300 yards passing a game. They hung with UTSA this last weekend, close, until UTSA kind of made it a much larger. They pulled away at the end, I guess is the best way to put that. So I think we'll get to see the pass defense tested this week. This is probably the best passing offense we've seen so far. What are y'all's thoughts headed into this game? Miles, we'll start with you. What do you want to see from North Texas, and then kind of what probably scares you the most about this Temple matchup?
I mean, I want to see this team, like I've been saying for the past few weeks, just get out to an early start, get scoring early. And, Temple's going to throw the ball a lot. They threw for like 530 yards against UTSA. I mean, if they're airing out against that type of defense, which is not great, UTSA defense is not amazing, but they're going to have to start off fast, and they're going to have to score a lot of points early. And I think they can do that. Temple's not the best defense in the world. I'm not saying Navy was not really that good of a defense anyway. So, I mean, they have to execute on the big plays. This is going to be a test for that 3-3-5 defense. It's gonna really show if they can really stick up, because there were a few times in that Navy game they were throwing the ball right over the top of them, and I don't know why. I don't know if they were not expecting that, but it's going to be a big challenge, and that's what I'm saying. You got to start off fast. If they can just establish any sort of offense early, and especially getting those running backs involved. And you mentioned it earlier. They were multiple times where it was an empty backfield. They can't have that again. And they have to have someone in that backfield no matter if it's Adai, Johnson, whoever it is, trying to get separation in the passing game, just create something. If they can do that, should be a win for North Texas. And it's just going to be who can get big stops, and if North Texas can score first. If they don't score first, I'm not saying they're going to lose, but it's an uphill climb if you don't score first.
Harry, what are your thoughts?
I didn't get to watch that game against UTSA, but boy, looking at the stats, yeah, Temple should have won that game. And the quarterback threw gaudy. UTSA secondary must be terrible, or they're really good, one or the other. But you got Frank Harris. You throw him in, he's a $250,000 man. He wins games, and I think that's probably what happened. But anyway, that being said, I think they're going to give us a really tough game. I just think the schedule. That's why I'm again so disappointed about the Navy loss, because boy, it just doesn't get any easier from here. And I thought Temple was going to be a little bit easier than it looks like they're going to be, based on how they played against UTSA. Quite honestly, I feel like that this quarterback, I guess it's Kurt Warner's son, pretty damn good bloodlines there, Hall of Famer, is putting up huge numbers. It's really going to test our secondary. And Temple's hungry for a win. They got to feel pretty disappointed to come up short last week. They're going to be really hungry. This could be a real tough matchup for us. And like Miles said, man, we've got to correct some of these mistakes, because if we can't afford, we're not a good enough team right now to afford making those type of errors and beat anybody, including Temple.
Because this is a must-win game. I don't want to interrupt. This is a must-win game, because if they don't win this game, I can't see them making bowl eligibility. I just can't. I don't see them rattling off wins against Tulane, Memphis, UTSA, SMU, UAB, and Tulsa. I just can't see it. So
no.
This is if they don't win this game, the season is a wash. If you want to say it that way, it's not really. They can definitely win some games, but this is a must-win game, and that's October.
Yeah. They won't be favored in another game probably this year. Maybe Tulsa, but
they'll be favored by UAB. UAB is not that good of a team.
You
never know at this point. You
never know at this point. But I'm just saying that they're going to be dogs on a lot more than they are going to be favored. And I agree with you 100%. This is a big. You lose this game, boy, it's looking like a really long season.
Yeah, they've got like Miles mentioned, the gauntlet. I think we've got. Was it start off with Tulane, then Memphis, then UTSA, then SMU. That's four. I would say that's four of your top probably 5-6 teams right now in the American, and you've got them back to back to back to back. So yeah, I definitely think, in my opinion, like Miles said, this is to me the biggest must-win game so far this season. I do want to kind of touch on Temple's defense. Rush defense has really struggled so far this year, giving up almost 200 yards. They've given up 13 touchdowns so far. Miles, I'll start with you. Do you see this kind of being a game where we kind of see that running back core really take off? They've had some good games. They've had spurts. But, is this a game that, we can see multiple North Texas running backs with 100-plus yards and several rushing touchdowns? And is that the kind of the key to beat this Temple team is to really get that running game going?
Yeah, like I said, you got to have someone in the backfield all times. This feels like a game like when we played La Tech last year. We ran for like 300 and something yards. If this is the type of game where you assert, Adai's been playing great. Adai had that amazing touchdown against Navy. If they can really just assert it in the first half, they're gonna tire them out. They really are. Because I watched them play against UTSA. They were constantly. UTSA put up 50-something points. They were all over them on the running part of the ball, and especially when you have a quarterback like Chandler Rogers who can break out a 75-yard run. So if they can have that dual threat with Rodgers and those running backs, it's going to be offensively. This is a game where you can see that North Texas putting up 50 points against an actual FBS team. It's all going to ride on defense, but offensively, if they can get Adai and Rodgers and Attaway and all those guys going early, it's going to be a recipe for a good offensive showing. At least we'll see how they actually execute it, but it's going to be huge to start that early and kind of dominate, because they're about to play 4 really big teams up front with Tulane, Memphis, UTSA and SMU. Those guys are all big. Tulane's the biggest team we're going to play all year. They're bigger than Cal. They have a lot of sacks, so they're going to put a lot of pressure. This is the game where you get those guys going, have a lot of confidence going into this next 4 games after this.
Is there any concern with seeing, a team like Navy get the 8 sacks? Did Navy kind of give a blueprint of how to stop this offense? I mean, are we going to see, Harry, you think that moving forward we're going to see the box stacked and bring in the house a lot more? I mean, is that something you think that North Texas can, that Coach Morris and the staff can put in some hot routes and kind of get the ball out quicker? Or is that, especially going in this next, after Temple, the 4 games after that, is that something that really scares you as far as keeping Chandler Rogers healthy and keeping this offense?
Absolutely. Yeah, they're not going to do that again. I mean, I don't see that. That would be disastrous to allow that to happen. It's a shame it did happen, but I don't see him hey, maybe you don't have as many receiver options, but I mean, with Macklin and some of the receivers we have, we're okay. We can leave a guy back and give the quarterback some protection. Literally, again, I was at the game and everyone watched it, but I mean, on half or more of those sacks, the guy never got touched. I mean, basically, he just ran directly to the quarterback. So that's a system issue more than anything else. That's just, they've got to address it, and I'm sure they will. Mm-hmm. Now, I don't know enough about Temple to know what wrinkles they're going to throw, but that's the problem is every week, like Miles said, Tulane's going to smash mouth us. I mean, every team has a different way of attacking us, and part of that is on Eric and the staff to adjust accordingly. And I mean, so hopefully that isn't going to be an issue. But also, can we get the running game off the ground? Can we close the deal when we're in the red zone? I mean, are we going to hit all our field goals? I mean, those are all, variables we can't predict until we get actually out there on the field.
Yeah. So right now, it started out, I think we were 6-point favorites. I think it's dropped down to 5. Looks like a lot of the money's coming in on Temple. Miles, start with you. Kind of game prediction, and does North Texas cover that 5-point spread?
That's a hard question. I feel like they're going to cover this. I feel like what's the over under? Did you say the over under?
I didn't, but I can look it up real fast.
I'm pretty sure it was like 65 or something like that. But I really think they do cover. I mean, I think they win. Honestly, this team should be winning by 2 or more touchdowns, and that's what it should be. On paper, North Texas offense is much better than Temple. The Temple offense, excuse me. It's just going to come up of how they can get big opportunities, how they can kind of create plays, and especially with those big time moments. And if Temple, golly, someone's calling me. If Temple doesn't start off fast, I mean, I think North Texas can put them away early. And I think they can kind of do like an ACU, except I hope they don't, let ACU back in the game or a Temple back in the game. But, 5-point spread. What's the over under? It's
right now it's at 69.
69. Yeah. I'd bet they hit the over on that. I just feel like both these teams are going to kind of do what they do offensively, air the ball out, run the ball. It's going to be a high scoring. I say North Texas wins by 7+, so they're gonna cover that spread for sure.
I took the over in the Navy North Texas game, and we missed it by a little bit. The whole Chandler Rogers touchdown and the drop touchdown in the end zone. I could see my money just evaporating in thin air as the game went on. I told my buddy who doesn't pay attention to North Texas football. He's an East Texas guy, but he's a big bettor, and I told him earlier in the week, I was like, load up on this. I was like, last time Navy and North Texas played, it's like the 5th highest scoring game ever. Like, put all your money on it. And then he texted me a screenshot. I think it was, 7-0, 7-3 in second quarter. And he's like, hey, when's that scoring going to start? I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't know. Harry, what are your predictions, your thoughts going into the game?
If I was going to throw a score up there, I think it's going to be pretty high scoring. I mean, I'm going to say maybe 35-31, something like that. I think North Texas should win this game, especially at home. But I would say, what am I looking for? The good thing through all this season, and Miles will probably attest to this too because he was at the Navy game, we got the guys jumping up and down on the sidelines. We got the team. The team, it's not an issue of attitude. It's not an issue of, these guys are trying. And so I just want to continue to see that effort, this whole season. I mean, honestly, whether we make a small bowl game or not is not as important to me as do we continue, like you said, to improve as the season goes on? And are we consistently keeping a positive, can-do attitude? To me, those are the big things I'm looking for. I would obviously love to beat Temple at home, and that would be great. But I want to see us to continue to progress and show effort every single game. So those are my keys.
Yeah. That's I'm right there with you guys. I mean, I think that I think he may not have the best game against Navy, but I think Chandler Rogers is the best quarterback North Texas has had in a while. I mean, we've got a whole nother year with him. I want to see the defense continue to progress. We've seen recruiting kind of shift a little bit on that side. I mean, I think that we're going to see a lot of JUCO guys. We're going to see transfer guys. I think game 1, 2004, or 24, which is a long time away. I think this defense is potentially going to look completely different first game next year. But as what we've got right now, we can't go out and sign free agents. I just want to see it continue to progress each week. And and like I said, hopefully this week, when we figure out a way to this is, like I said, we'll see the pass defense get tested for the first time, I think, this year. Excited to see how that comes about. And 11 o'clock start, ESPNU. We're on national TV, one of the main ESPN networks. So a good chance to that early crowd, college game day ends. That's one of the first early games on. So a chance to kind of, make a statement on national TV. So a lot of things to be excited about, a lot of things to look forward to. But I think they cover, I think a big game from the Russian attack from North Texas, kind of a breakout performance and kind of give us some positive vibes, getting ready to head to Louisiana the next week to play a really tough Tulane team. So, well, that will wrap it up. Thank you guys for joining me. Like I said, Mean Green Collective. I'll put some stuff at the bottom, a link to, so if anybody wants to donate. Miles, you'll be.
Or just go to meangreencollective.com. That's our website. So it takes you directly to our donation page, and there's some pictures and information. More to come there, but it's pretty straightforward and simple. We would love to have you participate, and it's for a good cause. And thanks for giving me that. Let me promote it here, JD.
Yep. Excited stuff. North Texas celebrating Oktoberfest, 11 a.m. start. So it's probably gonna be some 7 a.m., 8 a.m. beers out there in the parking lot. But hopefully exciting crowd. Hopefully North Texas picks up the first win in the American Conference. But
I'd like to interject and say they just released we're wearing all black on Saturday.
Whoa.
I just saw it. They just said back in black, so they're wearing all black this Saturday. So interesting for 11 a.m. game, but it's
perfect weather. It's gonna be 66 degrees, sunny. I mean, this is primetime football weather. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that's to be excited about this weekend.
Let me promote one other thing. Okay. You ought to give Miles's Twitter address. It may be up there, but this guy has taken some amazing pictures. A lot of them have been up on the site, but I want to commend you, Miles. You're a damn good photographer, man.
Thank you. Yeah, it's fun. It's really fun, and especially when they're playing this. Like they really helped me out because those guys know me pretty well now, which is kind of scary, but they know me pretty well. And, they always want to help out a little bit and shooting along with Zach, the main UNT photographer. It's awesome. I realize we get a lot of the same shots, so I got to kind of change things up a little bit, but it's fun. I'm excited to shoot this weekend, especially at Tulane. That should be fun. And I'm glad you're all letting me do it because it's been a good experience so far.
Yeah, it's awesome to have a GoMeanGreen representative that you've made every road game so far. I mean, there's not a lot of sites that can say that. So, like I said, I'm glad to have you on board. Excited to see some more pictures, but I'll end it with Go Mean Green and Go Rangers.
Go Mean Green, go Astros.
I think I can mute that last part. We'll edit that out in post. But thank you guys for joining me, and like I said, hopefully,
thank you.
we'll get together after the weekend and hopefully talk about a North Texas win.
Mhm.
Sounds good.
Thank
Thank
you, guys.
you.
Thank you.
All right.